On November 15, 1805, Lewis and Clark successfully completed the most famous overland expedition in American history. They had done so by arriving at this very spot, where the Columbia River empties into the Pacific Ocean. It is an area packed with interesting history, and there is much to explore here. Dense forests that give way to secluded coves, the ruins of coastal defense forts, lighthouses, sandy beaches, rocky shoreline, and so much more. I'm here today at Cape Disappointment State Park, which is at the southwesternmost tip of Washington State. And it is an incredible area. It is a place that I have never been to before. It is a place that I have wanted to go to for quite some time. And it is a place that is filled with history. Lewis and Clark reached the Pacific Ocean right in this general area, following the Columbia River, where it empties into the world's largest ocean. There are military installations here that are super cool, old coastal defense forts to check out. There are coves like this one, which are just spectacularly beautiful. And on top of all of that, this weekend is a king tide, and so the tides are crazy as well. Earlier in the day when I first got here, there were some pretty spectacular waves crashing on the rocks. So I feel so lucky. The sun is shining, and I'm just gonna spend the rest of the day exploring Cape Disappointment State Park, which, by the way, more on that name later because I think it's kind of hilarious. And then tonight, I'm going to be meeting up with a friend and someone who, if you watch my videos and you enjoy overlanding on YouTube, you may recognize. And I'm not gonna say who it is because I don't want to spoil it just yet, but we are in for a great weekend. I'm gonna show you all the cool things that I find today and enjoy this sunny day, which is a true rarity in the Pacific Northwest in January. Okay, now I promised I'd tell you the story of how Cape Disappointment got its name. So here's how it went down. In 1788, a sorta shady British dude by the name of John Mears was searching for the mouth of the Columbia River, and upon arriving at said mouth, he quickly dismissed it as nothing but a bay, writing, "We can now with safety assert that there is no such river as that of St. Roch exists." And frustrated by his own exploratory incompetence, he named the area Cape Disappointment and continued south. It wasn't until 1792 that an American explorer named Robert Gray became the first to sail across the Columbia Bar on his ship, the Columbia Rediviva, which is how the river got its name, and even better, helped to partially settle America's claim on the land. Ha! Suck it, Britain. And with that out of the way, let's get back to the video. Well, that was pretty neat. A little overgrown trail up some steps that looks like it leads to probably what was an old watchtower, part of probably the coastal defense fort that was here. But what I'm looking at right now is the confluence of the Columbia River draining into the Pacific Ocean. And it's pretty beautiful here. Okay, back down the steps we go. All right, so this is pretty awesome. I just was walking through one of the trails that goes through the woods here, and it opens up, and lo and behold, one of the coastal defense batteries that was at Fort Canby, this is Battery Harvey Allen, just appears. And it's super cool. They actually have it set up so you can kind of walk through it, at least parts of it. Behind me, you can see where one of the guns was mounted. I think this would have been one of the disappearing guns, they called them. So they would sit below this wall, and then when they'd fire, they would rise up and then fire and then lower back down to make it harder for enemy ships to spot them. At least I think that's what they are, but I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, just been walking through and exploring. They've got a little munitions room set up that is pretty cool. I haven't seen that at one of these forts. There are a number of these coastal defense forts for harbor defense around the Pacific Northwest in Washington. Most of them are further up north though. This is the one I've never been to, so this is pretty exciting. But anyway, this is just a super cool part of history. I always get excited when I come to these types of forts because I feel like a little kid again. Like, you get to walk through them, and it's dark and it's a little bit scary, and you just get to explore the past. And you know, it's really interesting that this is how coastal defense was done. And really, obviously, the advent of the airplane made this, you know, pretty much obsolete, among other things. But yeah, just super cool. If you're in this area, highly recommend you check it out. In fact, I think in front of me here, there's another little building I'm gonna check out right now. All right, well, I've just been exploring around Cape Disappointment State Park for the last 3 or 4 hours here. And, ooh, tree. Been having a great time. I'm back on one of the trails, and this place is incredible. I mean, you have so much history here. It's super cool being able to stand, you know, near the area that Lewis and Clark would have stood as they reached the Pacific after their trek across country, the ultimate overland adventure, I might add. And then you have the military history with the coastal defense fort here, Fort Canby, and being able to kind of walk through that and explore that. Super cool. Those are always fun. There's a couple lighthouses here. Managed to check one of those out. Dead Man's Cove, also super, super cool. And I gotta say, overall, pretty impressed with the state park. But anyway, the sun is starting to get a little bit lower in the sky. And so I'm heading back to the truck now. I think I'm gonna head to my campsite for the night, get that all set up and squared away, and then head down to the beach. Haven't been down to the beach yet, so I think that's gonna be next. All right, well, just got everything at camp situated. Only took about 15 minutes, largely because tonight is the first night I'm camping in the truck. I'm solo on this trip. Christine is staying home to take care of Indiana. So anyway, because it's just me, I thought it would be a good chance to try camping in the truck. I've got a sleeping platform, so we're gonna see how that goes. Could be great, could be a disaster. I will know tomorrow morning. But anyway, now that camp is set up, we've got a little bit of time left before sunset, and so I think I'm gonna head down to the beach.